The cryptocurrency market is heating up. And with the federal government now fully supporting cryptocurrency, it is loading up for one of the most historic bull runs in history. Your chance to make life-changing money. Or if you're not careful, lose it all. Which is why every week you need to tune in as I break down the market in simple terms, tell you the projects that I'm entering in to help you create wealth for your family and your future. So let's get after it. In a surprising turn of events, last week, we saw not only the Ethereum spot ETF get passed, but also a new bill called the FIT21 bill passed here in the United States that got bipartisan support that finally provided regulatory clarity. And with Donald Trump coming out extremely pro-crypto, even taking campaign donations in Bitcoin, it forced the Democratic administration to do an abrupt turn and actually start to support cryptocurrency. So as Rand from Crypto Banter so eloquently said, what's happening in the cryptocurrency market can be best explained in a situation what a child deals with when their parents get divorced. What happens? They get 2 Christmases, and even though the parents may fight and may not get along, guess what? The child is the beneficiary of it. And that's exactly what we've seen with both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party doing in a complete turn, and both going after the cryptocurrency voter pool, which is typically the swing voter. So we've seen both campaigns and both parties fully support cryptocurrency, which is going to lead to a meteoric cryptocurrency run, which it also is great for you in making money. And as Raoul Pal, the famous Goldman Sachs macro investor, stated and put this beautiful chart up, it gives you a really clear opinion and expectations of where we're at in the current market and what is to be expected. Now, cryptocurrency follows a very, very systematic 4-year cycle that is all built around the Bitcoin halving, which happened just about a month ago. So as you can see here, we've had 4 cryptocurrency cycles. We're currently in the 4th. So what this is called is the banana zone. As you can see, it's shaped like a banana. So what happens is we get the Bitcoin halving event, typically somewhere about right here. And then what we do is we see this insane, very short period of time where the market absolutely takes off. Once again here, that market cycle goes ahead, goes into a massive bear market, as you can see from here. Massive bear market, trades consolidation. We get the Bitcoin halving, trade sideways for a few months, and then it's a rocket ship for typically about a 3 to 9 month period of time. We saw this again here in that last cryptocurrency cycle. We saw this is the COVID drop. We saw the Bitcoin halving happen about right here, traded sideways for several months, and then rocket shipped off to that market. So you'll notice every one of these charts is a very similar pattern. Now look at the chart we are here. You can see this point is where we are at here. A nasty, nasty bear market. We built up steam, had our Bitcoin halving right here, and now we're getting ready to be loaded up to that banana zone. Now will that come across in 2 months time, 3 months time, 6 months time? Nobody truly knows, but right now we're about 180 days ahead of schedule from what the traditional cryptocurrency market cycle top does. So what we typically see is the cryptocurrency market from the bottom to where it reaches an all-time high is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 500 days. But what we saw this cycle that was so different is the Bitcoin ETF was passed in January of this year, which it began trading on the US stock market, most famously under BlackRock's IBIT, which provided massive institutional capital, which then, for the first time in history, Bitcoin broke its all-time high prior to the halving event, which leads many people to believe, including myself, that we could probably have a much more accelerated crypto cycle. What that means is, traditionally, from the time of the halving to the time we see that all-time high, that kind of really puts in that peak of the market, it's right around that 500 days. Many people think we could be putting in that all-time high before we go into a bear market sometime between November and March of 2025. So November of this year to March of next year. So let's break down, because what just happened with Ethereum was that it got its spot ETF getting passed. So what this means for you is it's going to start trading. So for the first time ever, we're going to see hedge funds, pension funds, residential investment advisors all get exposed to this asset and be able to hold it on their balance sheet or purchase it for their wealthy clients, because now We've seen the SEC come out and said it is no longer viewed as a security, which there was a lot of confusion with Gary Gensler, and it's now a commodity, and it's something that is regulated, and in layman's terms, you're allowed to own it if you're a publicly traded company or an institution. So let's look at what happened when Bitcoin went ahead and broke and became trading on that exact chart. So if we come here and let's go to Bitcoin's chart real quick. So I'll pull this up. So here's Bitcoin's chart. So what we can see is, if we look at this, Bitcoin really started to go on a meteoric run. Then what ended up happening is we ended up seeing the Bitcoin spot ETF get passed. So what that means is look what happened. We saw it sell off, something called you buy the rumor, sell the news. So basically when it got passed, we saw for about a period of from about the end of January up until about late February, we saw it trade down and then traded sideways in a consolidated pattern, 3 weeks to 6 weeks. So now with Ethereum, it's set that it's likely going to start being available on exchanges. So think of it like trading under how you have IBIT, which is the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. They're assuming that's going to begin trading on the open market somewhere around the end of June. So, we're probably in the range of about 3 to 4 weeks away from that. So if we know that we ended up going from right down here, so we basically, once it kind of started going on those exchanges, and we know that it ended up going all the way up to here, we can see over that period of time, we gained about 66%. So let's go look at what Ethereum's doing and seeing if it's a similar chart. So if we go onto Ethereum right now, we can see what ended up happening was we saw a big rise in Ethereum when it was thought to be that all of a sudden we may actually get a spot ETF approval. So right here, then the approval was announced last week, and now we've come down a little bit and we're kind of trading a lot sideways. So as long as we stay above this kind of $3,400 range for Ethereum, we're just normal trading activity. So if we get that ETF basically and it starts trading somewhere around here, so let me grab my pen for us. All right. So let's say we're right here. So maybe it trades something like this all the way up until right at about here, the end of June. Then if we get a repeat of what happened to Bitcoin, this would then take Ethereum's price from, let's say, the $3,500 to $4,000 range. And if we get the same move that we have, we're talking about, roughly speaking, about a $6,000 Ethereum price. So what that basically means is you got about a 60% play out. Now, if it starts trading in June, that could potentially put Ethereum putting in a new all-time high somewhere in the range of the end of August. Now, Ethereum is what is called an altcoin, meaning it's an alternative to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, because it's such a large market cap, it takes a lot of capital being invested in Bitcoin to really move its price significantly. And with Ethereum, right now, the supply of Ethereum available to be bought on the open market or exchanges like Coinbase is at a 6-year low. So if you're going to have a potential of having a limited supply with a massive amount of demand, with a much smaller market cap, we could really see Ethereum's price explode very quickly. And many people are like, well, there's no way it's going to go up 60% in that period of time. So to help you understand how quickly the price of Ethereum can move, let's just take a look back in history. So if we look back in here and we look at a time, let's call it around January of 2021. So if we're going to go ahead and I'll pull my trusty out. So let's look at here, right around January of 2021. We saw the price, of January 2021 was roughly about $375. And we saw by the fact of, look at this, we saw by early May, we saw a price of all the way up to $3,700. So you guys can look at that beginning of July to the end of April, okay, which is 120 days. We saw the price go from about $375 all the way up to $3,745. Almost, this is a 10x in 120 days. So I want you guys to understand how quickly the cryptocurrency market can move. And I'm not saying we're going to get a 10x. Ethereum, something crazy would have to happen because the market cap or the total amount of the asset's worth was much smaller at that time, but still, we can very easily get a 60% return in a period of just 60 days. So as traders, the best way that we can make a guesstimate of when we will start to see this rally really take place, we want to look back in history at the last previous cycle. So what we can see looking back in this previous cycle, so we know that last time that Bitcoin halving that really ended up taking place is it took place right at about this point, okay? So if we're going to look on this chart and we're going to say when the Bitcoin halving ended up taking place, we can see it happened roughly in about January of 2024. So if we look at that, I want you guys to look at how similar these patterns are. It came up, had a little bit of sell-off, traded sideways for a few weeks, rocket ship, right? Now let's look over here. I'll zoom in so you guys can really get the picture on this. So look what happens. So what we basically see, that we saw the Bitcoin go ahead and ETF happened here, right? Then what we do, traded sideways, we started a rocket ship, we came down, and now we're building that consolidation pattern. So it is now, will we go into, July before we launch? Will it be August? Who knows? But what we do know is it is setting up a very, very similar pattern to this. So a couple of the things to really want to understand and what you guys want to be tuning in for is making sure that you are in the right projects. Because in the last cryptocurrency cycle, we saw a lot of people in projects like Zcash or Bitcoin Cash or XRP, and they thought they were going to really load up on these projects because last cycle, these were the winners. They did an unbelievable run in 2017. And unfortunately, because the narratives began to change and what people were actually investing in, we saw those coins not even break their previous cycle's all-time high. So it's so important that you guys are investing in the right cryptocurrency coins, not based on their performance in the last cycle. Now, sure, some of them will do very well, but you need to be in projects that are currently showing strong in this cycle. What are those? That's certain meme coins, AI coins, real world asset coins. And so what I did is I put together a cheat sheet of the 19 coins that if I was going to build a portfolio and just set aside $10,000 and equally weighted, how I would do that. And so I did that and issued that on May 1st. You guys can check the link below to go ahead and grab a copy of that. And most importantly, guys, tune in every single week as I will be beginning to highlight specific projects within that cryptocurrency cheat sheet, as well as other projects as I enter them. And if you guys really want to take crypto serious, make sure that you guys check out our YouTube channel, CryptoCharged, and you guys can check that in a link. We put out daily shows, and we even have a full 1,000-member community with a Discord, so definitely check it out. This is your chance to make life-changing money. Invest 20, 30 minutes a day. It'll be the best time you've ever spent in your whole life. And until next week, see you guys later.